Saturday. I am the only one who is up right now, and we are hydrating, and we're about to get some fuel in our bodies too. Yes, I am still on my Walmart water game where they have like the mermaid unicorn. I'll have to look up, I'll pop up on the screen here what the mermaid flavor actually is. It's kind of like a coconutty, pineapple-y, tropical vibes. Welcome to Saturday. Like I said, did I say it was Saturday? I don't know, it is early, it is 7 o'clock. I've actually been up since 5:30. The little pepperoni got me up. He had to go pee and then I just couldn't go back to sleep. That always is the case for me. But I thought I would show you what I'm gonna make for a little snack. I'm gonna go to the gym this morning. I'm gonna go for a run. Me and my husband run together on Saturdays. And what I usually make in the morning, I'm also gonna make throughout the week. And so I'll kind of show you how I make it, like variation today as a snack, a variation later on as a meal. So you can kind of see like the flexibility in that. It's what I call crunch toast, giving my body right now some carbs, readily available energy to do that workout. So I am going to do that, getting some hydration in, and we will move our bodies in a way we enjoy. Also, guys, here's a little bit of realness. So you might think, oh man, wow, your counters are so clean and organized. Absolutely not. 99% of the time, this is what people who film stuff do. We just shove it all to the side. No, sometimes we clean it, but I would say this is probably happening 80+% of the time that you are seeing videos where it's like, oh wow, you've got your life together. No. Okay, showing you that inspired me to actually take a moment to clean up my counters, and it feels very good. So thank you for the help. All right, here is our crunch toast. So we have toast, yogurt. I usually use freeze-dried strawberries, but I used these apples. We're out of strawberries. I'll grab some more today at the store. I just think strawberries are a little more flavorful for this application, but I like eating these with peanut butter on their own better. So I used those, and then we have some peanut butter, and then Kodiak sent me this. I am excited to try it. I will report back, but this is, ooh, my alarm's going off. I told my friend I'd bring her a protein shake, so we're gonna stop that. Always set reminders, guys, because I swear if it's not written down, I won't have it. Okay, so we are going to eat this, give the man, the myth, the legend some peanut butter as well, because you're a good boy, and get our booties moving. Don't worry, I'm not gonna put this back in the peanut butter jar, guys. All right, guys, we are getting ourselves together. Went for a run this morning, felt good. I'm currently training for a 25K race. I do this like every couple of years-ish. And so I've been working on timing a portion of my run. I do have a goal that I want to meet in terms of finishing the race in a certain time. So the way that I'm working towards that is like I'm working up to it. I'm taking just like a portion of the runs that I'm doing and then trying to do that at race pace and then kind of like increasing the duration that I keep that pace for, I guess you could say. And it was interesting. I was reflecting in my journal. Let's see if I can multitask. It's been very nice to be able to time it and then jot down. It was the exact time that I did it, the same portion last time I ran. I did it in the literally exact same time frame. So that was funny. But we are gonna head out for our Saturday errands, and I am using this mascara. You guys, I asked you on Instagram, you were incredibly helpful for picking out a new mascara. My issue is that I've always used waterproof. Let me find the one. I've always used this one, this CoverGirl Lash Brush. I feel like this is like such an OG one. I've always used this one. Waterproof, do people just like not cry during the day? Like, I need waterproof. And then also I feel like waterproof is the only one that keeps my lashes curled. So I very like straight lashes. I've been using this, but I hate taking it off at night. Like sometimes I'll tell my husband, like on days where I just don't wear makeup, I'm like, I don't have to take my makeup off tonight. And it's just like, so freeing. So I was like, what mascaras do you guys recommend? Tubing mascaras, I mean, was the name of the game. So what I've done is I took all your recommendations, and then I'm honestly just gonna start at the lowest end and then work my way up. So this is Essence by Panda. It's actually highly recommended, and a lot of like Good Housekeeping and stuff websites also recommended it. So this is like, I think less than $5. I got it on Amazon. I can link it in the description. But I'm gonna start with this one, and then the other ones that I'm kind of planning on tiering up to would be Elf, L'Oreal, Maybelline, Thrive, and then Tarte. So that's kind of like, I think like order of like the, I don't want to say expensive, but the like financial investment of those. I did swipe some of this on before I went to run this morning. I usually don't wear makeup to the gym because I'm literally usually rolling out of bed. But this morning I did, and I didn't have any smudges. It came off with water in the shower. I didn't have, they call panda eyes. We're gonna see, just keep going with this, but that's what I'm currently using. Thank you for the recommendations. This is my second day using it and I like it so far. So there we go. Okay, I'm gonna finish getting ready and then we'll chat about what we're making for dinner tonight. It is one of those days. It is so bright. I apologize. Hold on. It is, first of all, I got so sidetracked by the mascara of it all. I forgot to say, one of like the biggest reasons, I know I've said this before, but why I love running. If you don't love running, that's totally fine. Like find what you enjoy doing. But for me, I swear one of the, this dog is just like moving and grooving around. One of my biggest motivators and why I love it is because I swear I get the most creative ideas. Like I always come away from a run with a little more clarity on a project or a new idea for a video or something like that. So I love that. And also it's just time to like, you don't have to think about, you can just submerge yourself in content. Caught up with Southern Charm. I was finishing that as I was doing my makeup, but it's just nice to just have a little bit of like an escape, you know? So those are my two biggest things. Have nothing to do with actually the movement itself. So always thinking about those things. That's how we get that kind of like long-term motivation to want to do it. So it doesn't feel like a chore, so it's joyful. So we are going grocery shopping now, and we actually don't have that much that we have to like do. So we're gonna do a little dilly-dallying. We're gonna go to Target. There's also a cute little like store, like kind of like a gift shop kind of thing. They just like renovated and moved, so we're gonna stop there. Then tonight I'm going to make soup, and I know we both got like sunglasses on right now, but it is one of those days here in Michigan where it is deceivingly sunny. So I planned on making a soup, and I also get asked a lot, well, like, okay, you meal plan a lot. You talk about that. We have it built into the app. What happens when you don't want to have, oh, this lighting is so much better that we moved out of the driveway. I apologize for that as well. Anywho, what do you do if you like just don't want what you had originally planned? And the answer is you just don't have to do it. I was fully ready to just throw this soup out the window, not literally, and just be like, I don't want that tonight. And that's okay. But also sometimes you have to be practical with like, if I already bought the ingredients or something, I might be like, if this is just not what I was wanting, but it's like practical, it's what makes sense. Sometimes then it's like, that's kind of a bummer, but it's just what makes sense. So the answer is, as always with most things, it depends. I know everyone hates the answer. Thea was loving the sunshine. Was ready to do that, but we are gonna get on our little merry way here and just have ourselves a day. I think when we get home, our big plans are nothing. We both had a very long week, and I am hoping to get some painting done today. Catch up on some television. That's really all we got. Soup. It is soup time, friends. She's been simmering away. We have our roasted cauliflower, kale, and sausage soup. super, super easy to make. All you gotta do, roast up some cauliflower and garlic, saute butter with some onion, add your broth and cauliflower. Then you're gonna take about 4 cups of it and blend it up, and that's what's gonna get it to be a little bit creamy. Then add sausage, kale, and voila, you're just gonna let that simmer. I'm gonna serve it with some oyster crackers. We have been loving those. We have been loving those in our house lately, and this might be our last soup of the season, guys. It's getting to be a little bit on the warm side now. Also delicious is putting a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top. Highly recommend. Okie dokie, friends. Monday morning here. I feel like my hair is wild right now. We are having the same sort of, since Saturday morning have gone to the store and I got my freeze-dried strawberries, which is my preferred preference for this. I call this strawberry crunch toast. Same thing going on. We got some toast, yogurt, crushed strawberries, granola, peanut butter, delish. But, made 2. It's the first thing from my snack to my meal. But then, personally, I need a bigger breakfast to feel satisfied. So, I kind of thought about this. I was like, what do I want to add to it? And this is a kind of like lower protein breakfast. It has the Greek yogurt on there, but there's not a ton of Greek yogurt in there. And we had some turkey that needed to be used. So I was like, let's add a little bit of protein. I would love a little bit more fruit with it. The freeze-dried strawberries, they just don't give a ton of fruit. They're more for like crunch and flavor. I don't know if this is weird or not, but I was like, whatever. You know how people make like snacks with like a slice of cheese, apple, and wrapped in turkey? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I was like, let's just do the turkey and the apple. I had an apple that needed to be used, so it's good. It's very good. Would recommend. Usually when I think of adding like a protein and like a little boost of protein, I'll think like chicken sausage. Trader Joe's has some that I really like, and I was like, oh, that'd be perfect. But I was like, I really don't feel like stopping at Trader Joe's just to grab sausage. And I was like, let's just do this. And it's delish. Every time. Flavors, texture, it's just so satisfying. I've done a lot of talking with my mouth full in this clip, and I apologize. I'm gonna keep eating this and get on with my day. It is Monday. You know what that means. Filming day, Monday, friends. I am just wrapping up. I had a quick couple things I needed to film this morning, and now we edit everything. Let's make a cake. I am going to make the cinnamon roll poke cake that was just added to the app. It is so good, you guys, and if you have not had a poke cake before, it is gonna change your life. And while we do that, let's go ahead and talk about food guilt, because that has been a hot topic this week. I'm gonna give you 5 tips to help fight food guilt. I need to raise you up. Okay, tip for boxed white cake mix. This one calls for 5 egg whites. The price of eggs, you guys, have you seen them? The egg whites, yes, it's to keep the cake like white, but there is like different properties with the egg yolks versus egg white, like texture and stuff. I've used 3 whole eggs. That's what I'm gonna do for this, and it works just fine. Let me find some scissors. Okay, the first tip that I have for you in terms of food guilt is to not restrict. Don't try to cut back or skimp on carbs, anything like that. Just eat normally. By normally, what I mean, fuel your body. Don't intentionally change anything to make quote unquote like room for something that you might feel guilty over. Because what that is going to do is it's going to set you up to likely eat even more. When we go into any sort of like eating experience and we're overly hungry, we then are kind of setting ourselves up to overeat, which can worsen those feelings of guilt and shame that you might be experiencing. But what it can also do is intensify the way that we feel our emotions. So if you are feeling guilt, it can actually make the guilt feel more intense. So set yourself up for success, friends, in multiple ways, both physically and emotionally. Don't restrict before. This is also a great time for me to tell you what I had for lunch today, which was Mexican street corn chopped salads. So good, you guys. That's also a new recipe that was added to the app. I made a big batch of the street corn on Sunday, and then I've just been using that to easily put them together during the week. Romaine, coleslaw, the street corn, chicken, cheese, a little bit of tahini, an extra squeeze of lime juice, and then I serve it with tortilla chips. I should have used beaters. My arm's getting tired. I actually prefer the salad with chicken tenders. I just think it's a little bit tastier, but I had a bunch of chicken that I just had to use. So sometimes you just gotta be practical and you don't go with what you honestly like best. Sometimes you're just gotta be practical. Because remember, friends, listening to our body includes our brains. Don't judge me. Literally, it's the best part. Okay, popping this in the oven. So tip number 2 is going to be to create a supportive environment, both internally and externally. So what I mean by internally is really to regulate your emotions and to de-stress. So again, very similar, when we are in a state of stress, our emotions are going to feel heightened. Essentially, we're in a fight or flight stage. So literally calming your body down physically and also your mind is going to be super helpful. You can do some breathing exercises. You can do a little bit of a quick meditation. I've been using minute meditations and just minute breaks to de-stress throughout the day. You can use things like that in this instance as well. 1/4 cup brown sugar. So you are also going to want to really create a supportive environment externally, and this can be done in a few ways. Getting yourself some moral support. If you are someone who doesn't even want to allow yourself to eat the food that you're feeling guilty for, having someone there with you if possible, or texting someone before, just kind of getting that little bit of moral support for you actually being able to physically get yourself to do it. Some people are going to need a little bit more extra support in that area. And also create a supportive environment with your physical body. Wear comfy clothes. Don't wear things that are restrictive. A lot of times what that can do is it can make us hyper aware of our body if we're worried about our bodies changing from eating a certain food. And it can also honestly impact your digestion of the actual food. Too tight clothes just create tummy aches. And then also plate your food. Make it an experience. Allow yourself to sit and enjoy it. And think about like the atmosphere that you're eating it in. Make it enjoyable. Okay, in here we have the sweetened condensed milk, melted butter, cinnamon, vanilla, and brown sugar. Okay, so our cake is cooked. We're allowing this to cool. And then essentially what we're gonna do is we're gonna poke a bunch of holes in it, and then we're gonna pour this over top of it, and then we'll frost it. While that cools, tip number 3 is to eat it mindfully and kindfully. So let me explain what that means. So mindfully is just that, allowing yourself to be present and enjoy it. Remember how we created that atmosphere? That can also include removing distractions, like I said, putting it on a plate, and then allowing yourself to tune into the actual food of it and be mindful of the tastes, the textures, versus just kind of like shoveling it in our mouths, which a lot of times we can do when we feel guilty, because we're like, I want to allow myself this, but I don't want to feel the guilt, so I'm just going to eat it really fast, and that's not really enjoyable. And eating really fast can also cause tummy aches. So before you get started, take a couple deep breaths. Again, calm the body, tune into those tastes, textures, and also your physical fullness and your satisfaction, and allow that to guide you. Pause halfway through and check in. Then evaluate, do I want more? Am I satisfied? There is no right or wrong answer. And then kindfully means being aware of our self-talk. A lot of times food guilt is learned, you guys, from society, from what we're told, from our food rules, from diet culture. And so really one of the key pieces of moving away from food guilt and preventing it from happening is to what I call rewire our brains. You're literally creating new neural pathways and changing the way that your brain thinks. That starts with being aware of our thoughts and evaluating them and changing them from a place of criticism and shame and guilt to being more kind to ourselves. It's really cognitive reframing. So instead of, oh, I feel so guilty for eating this, I shouldn't eat this, changing that to, I understand that this is a thought pattern that I have been taught, but it's okay for me to eat this food. And I can do this in the amounts that feel good, and I don't need to feel guilty for it. The more we do that cognitive reframing, the more that we're going to work to overcome the guilt that we've been taught. There are tools for both of those. those, mindful eating as well as the food guilt, in my app. If you have it, you can download it and just go to the toolbox. You can use those in the moment. It can help you eat mindfully. That's also where I was talking about those 1-minute breaks that I have been doing. This week at lunch to help with my own stress, I've been using the minute meditations as well as the minute breath work, literally 1 minute of your time to de-stress, get the body to a state of calm. It's gonna help so much with being able to reduce that guilt. Okay, our cake is cooled. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and literally just poke a bunch of holes in it, because we are then going to pour our sweetened condensed milk over the top of it, and we want it to really soak all in. So we're gonna poke, 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 poke. Last time I made this, I don't feel like I did enough, so really go wild, guys. I think we're good. Okay, now we pour. After we get it all in as many of those holes that we just created. And then we have just a super simple cream cheese frosting that we're gonna put on top. Simple but delicious. All right, guys, now literally the hardest part of this whole thing is we're gonna put it in the fridge for a couple of hours to let everything kind of like marinate and sit together. Trust me, it's a lot better when you do. Okay, I'm going to look at these clean. This frosting is so good, you guys. I still got this bowl to clean. Okay, I have 2 more tips for you. Okay, tip number 4, really the next 2 tips are what to do after. First thing, move on. What you can do is take your mind off of if you're feeling guilt and do some sort of self-soothing, pleasurable activity. What this is actually going to do is it's going to help the brain process the memory or the experience eating the food. So when you can kind of take that experience that you feel guilty over and then pair it with a more positive one, like I said, your brain's gonna kind of start to see those 2 things as linked, positive emotion and that food, and it can combat some of that guilt. Read, you guys know I love painting by numbers, call a friend, anything that you find kind of that soothing, enjoyable, a little bit like what you do with when you de-stress. Then number 5, what you're really gonna wanna do is work to prevent it from happening. We don't just want it to be a rat race where we're constantly just combating guilt. We want to overcome it. So with this, you really want to work to normalize the food and make sure that we're including it. Doesn't mean you need to eat it all day long every day. What I like to recommend is what I call like touch points. It's less about how much of that food you eat at a certain time. So like sitting down and eating a bunch of cake, and it's more about the frequency and, like I said, those touch points of having the cake. Now that's a whole process we could go on its own. If you have the app, there's a Breaking Food Rules course in there. But moral of the high level story with the touch points is that, like I said, it's less about how much you eat at one time, and it's more about creating those interactions with it, which is going to help normalize that food, reduce the guilt. Because you start to realize it's not an off limit thing. Not only you, but your body and your brain start to realize that. And it can actually create less of a dopamine spike and then very heavy crash after, which tends to happen when foods are kind of like new, novel, we don't get them often. The more that you can, like I said, teach yourself that, okay, this is not off limits, we don't need to feel guilty, the less you're gonna feel guilty. And you are going to actively, like I said, want to work on that cognitive reframing. And I recommend doing this kind of like proactively, so working through some food guilt prompts. All of the ones in the app are meant to be used in the moment of guilt, but also as a preventative measure. So you can schedule those in to do on a daily basis, just a quick reflection. Super simple prompt. It'll take you like 30 to 60 seconds to do, but that is going to really cement that new neural pathway in your brain, creating a new way of thinking. We don't need to feel guilty. In turn, when we combat all this guilt, we're gonna be able to enjoy it more, yes, but also more likely be able to eat in a way that feels good without overeating, getting tummy aches, or restricting. It just becomes a more effortless balance, and getting rid of the guilt is such a huge part of that. Okay guys, my kitchen looks like a tornado went through it right now. We have the cake in the fridge. I will show that to you whenever we kind of dive into it, but Colleen from the future here. Okay, can you see that? It's kind of like, it reminds me of like a Tres Leches cake, you know, like those really like milky kind of cakes. Really does taste like a cinnamon roll. Can confirm. It is delish. Goat-free, friends. That's not an ingredient, so we don't add it. I hope you guys like this video. I hope you found it helpful. I hope either the food guilt aspect or getting some ideas and tips of seeing what I've been eating throughout the week gave you a little bit of inspiration or some ideas or a little bit of nutrition education there. So if you guys did like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, leave a comment. I do have a question for you. If you made it all the way to the end, leave a comment and let me know. Is there anyone here who does not enjoy or want to like lick the spoon? You know how I was doing? That's one of my favorite parts of baking. Like, it's just so fun. But whenever I offer it to my husband, he's like, no thanks. And I'm just like flabbergasted. Like, that's the best part. Is that like a common thing with other people and I just really like to lick the spoon? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I've literally never encountered anyone like that before besides him, but he's a unicorn in many ways, good ways. But thank you again for tuning in to another video, and I will see you next week. Show you what I'm eating throughout the week, give a little bit of some non-diet tips, and have some fun along the way. Okay guys, see you later.